Hey everyone! So this morning I had the same thing, granola and banana and almond milk for breakfast. And then I had 2 tortillas, which I cooked in a nonstick pan.
How many more is there more calories
with tuna and
Yeah.
tomato and onion.
I want the wrap next time. Or do you want to eat this?
So I just cooked that for a couple minutes. And yeah, it's cooking for a while. So I basically eat almost the same thing every day, but I'm trying to change it up, do different stuff. So I go ahead and I cook one side and I get it pretty crispy. Putting the tortillas away. And usually for breakfast, I kind of eat whatever we have, so this morning I had something different. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cook the tortillas. And I get the tortillas from Costco. There's a little bit of fat in there, but I normally count the amount of sodium I have. Usually the fat, I usually try to stay pretty low in terms of fat, that I have maybe like 20 grams of fat a day, which isn't a lot. So I put red onions down. Love red onions. And you could probably do this with turkey, but I'm on a low sodium diet, so I'm staying away from anything processed, so no processed meat at all. I think a good option would be like chicken, and then do some avocados, some good fats to go in there too as well. And I kind of just like it warmed a little bit, so I just put it directly in the pan. And then some fresh tomatoes are going to go in a second. And I love tomatoes. I would probably, honestly, I'd probably just put cucumbers in there. Put some fresh dill in there. And I'd probably just eat it like that. But, okay, so I have the tuna. Tuna, I put low-fat mayonnaise in there, like a tablespoon of mustard. And then I put onion powder in there.
Yeah.
Too as well. So that's the first wrap done. You could put lettuce, but since it's warm, I didn't want it to be soggy. So we're gonna do another tortilla. And I don't know what the heck I'm grabbing, but looks like I'm looking for, oh, Kevin wanted a drink. And the tortillas take about 1 to 2 minutes, it depends. You can probably just do it in like a cast iron skillet, but I just did it in a nonstick because it's easier for me, just because of convenience sake, for sure. I like doing this. You could probably make them from scratch. I think maybe one of these days I'll go ahead and make it from scratch. But the tuna down, and I'm using a wild caught tuna too. Something that's BPA free. I drain the water. Actually, again, every time I open the can, our cat goes nuts for it, so she loves it when I open up the tuna can, because I give her the juice from the tuna. Don't know if that's healthy for a cat, but she seems to really love the tuna, so it's like a little treat for her. So I put the rest of the avocado in there. And more tomato. Add that all in there. And some more red onion. And that's basically it for lunch. Now for dinner, I ended up making a healthy orange chicken. So I have 2 garlic cloves. I'm going to go ahead and smash it up, and I'm going to go ahead and take the peel off. And I'm going to mince it up. And if you have like a really big garlic clove, what you can do is put it in a mason jar, shake it up, and it usually just separates them all and takes some of the peels off too as well. So I'm going to mince this guy up, and then in here, actually no, I ended up grating it. Actually, I have my little microplane grater, and in there too I have a little knob of ginger. I also have 1 peel, 1 zest of 1 orange. And I'm just going to grate that in. And the bigger pieces I kind of just leave them there. But it's kind of nice because it's all cohesive and you get that like full orange flavor. But it's definitely a lot healthier than the regular orange chicken you would normally get. I like it. I was really craving orange chicken. So I looked at a recipe and I never really follow the recipe. Kind of just make it my own. So it's 2 garlic cloves. And then I have 1 orange peel in there and a knob, probably a teaspoon of ginger, 2's in there as well. And then I'm going to take the orange that I zested and I'm going to go ahead and cut it up because I'm going to use the juice from the orange to go ahead and make that for the sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it all on a plate just to make it easier so then I can go ahead and grab everything. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 green onions. I'm going to cut the onion. I'm going to use the whole thing. And it looks like I'm angle cutting these green onions to make it easier, kind of into like 1/4 to 1/2 inch chunks. I like kind of like a variety of cuts, it looks like. I actually really like kind of that variety of different cuts because then you get that different flavor and everything. So, yeah, it's going to be delicious. So, I'm going to put that on there. So, I have my 1 orange cut up. I'm going to go ahead and grab my juicer because I'm going to use that to juice up the orange. Yum, it's going to be so good. And I'm going to go ahead and take my chicken. Since I'm done, I usually do vegetables first and then I do the chicken. So I have 2 chicken breasts. I'm going to go ahead and fillet that in half evenly as best as I can. I want them to be about the same thickness. I noticed that it actually just tastes better overall if the chunks aren't super huge. And Kevin likes them kind of smaller too as well. So I was trying to make these a little bit smaller in chunk. If you're like squeamish with the chicken, I don't know what to tell you. Just cut the chicken, get it over and done with. I put a paper towel underneath too, just because of salmonella as well. Just makes it easier, clean up easier. So then all I have to do is spray it down with alcohol and we're good to go. I make my own disinfectant spray. 70% alcohol solution with a little lavender oil. Works great. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy, put it back in the bowl that it was in. And then I'm going to move on to my next one. So same thing, starting from the top and then doing long strokes across to cut and fillet this guy. I don't wear gloves, just wash your hands. I mean, it's really simple. All you gotta do is wash your hands, make your life a little bit easier. And then I'm gonna cut this up into chunks too as well. Little chunks, about probably 1/4 to 1/2 inch, just to make it a little bit easier. I also put my rice in the pressure cooker as well. I made a little bit more rice because then this morning I made fried rice for breakfast. So got that all in there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and remove this disgustingness out of the way. Gross. I'm gonna go wash this guy off. Empty cutting board. Nothing's there but the paper towel. But, well, that's a lot of lag. Oh well. And you could probably do this with shrimp too. So if you're thinking, could I do this with shrimp? You definitely could. You could do this with pork, but I am not a pork eater. So that is something, yeah, that I am not going to be doing. Okay, so we're back. We're going to take about a tablespoon of cornstarch and we're going to toss that up with the chicken. Just going to toss it up. And that's going to give us a nice sauce too on the outside of our chicken too. And it'll help adhere kind of that mixture to our chicken as well. I'm going to be using the Miyoko's butter, which is mostly coconut oil, in the pan. I'm not using olive oil, and I didn't have anything else, because I'm going to use butter. And you can use canola oil, but I'm just going to use that. Trying to be heart healthy, so. And this is enough for 4 servings. So I'm going to melt that completely. And once that's mostly melted, I'm going to go ahead and add in our chicken. I didn't put any salt on this as well, since it is low sodium. I'm going to be using a low sodium tamari, so a no salt kind of option would be, you could just leave the soy sauce out if you want. There is sodium in it. I think there's 530 milligrams of sodium per teaspoon. So add that in. And I'm going to let that cook a little bit. Once it's about halfway through in terms of cooking, then I'll start adding stuff. But it looks like, I think, quarter of the way through. While it's still cooking, I'm going to add the sesame seeds, the chili flakes, the garlic, and my orange zest and ginger to that. I just wanted to coat the chicken all the way through, so then the flavor is definitely there. I used way too much chili flake in this. I think I used about a tablespoon. It was too much. So I would say do half tablespoon in that. Look at me with my chopsticks and my non-wok. I wasn't going to pull a wok out. So we were trying to have dinner like then and now. So a good thing to do is when you read a recipe, I think this one is the simple yum one, but I just adjusted a lot of it. I didn't really like some of the ratios. I use less tamari in this just because I'm watching the sodium content, but I just mix it in. Once the chicken starts to turn kind of the bottom part starts to turn a kind of beige color, and then I add it in, so partially cooked. So the cornstarch is going to help if you want your sauce to be thicker too. I would add about another tablespoon of cornstarch in there. I just did 1. So that was about 2.5 pounds of breast. And I'm just cooking that through. I'm just trying to make sure too, I don't want the sesame seeds to burn. Next time I'll pull my wok out. Because it would have cooked a lot faster if I had a wok. And I've seen a lot of different healthy recipes. If you do chicken thighs, it's so much higher in fat. But this was actually really good, and Kevin really enjoyed it as well, and he's not on a low sodium diet. And the types of orange juice I used are the tangelos. I didn't use just like a regular orange. I use the tangelos because they have more of like an orange, intense orange flavor to them. You don't have to flip your pan too, because I was trying to get it so that it was getting coated evenly. Once they're almost cooked, you can add your half of your green onions. The other half I put in my rice. And you just gotta toss them occasionally too as well. Just to make sure they're being cooked evenly. And mostly for fun, because who doesn't love to saute in a pan like that? Because I do. My favorite part actually is flipping eggs in a pan. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. I know it sounds crazy, but I love flipping my eggs in a pan. Honestly. Okay, so we're gonna work on the sauce next. In here I have a tablespoon of sesame oil. I have half of a third of a cup of tamari light. And I also have, there's one other thing in here. No, oh yeah, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, sorry. And I'm squeezing all the orange juice in here. I think that's about a cup because it makes a lot. That's why I said if you want your sauce to